Hello one and all to the AOR Pro Mazda Championship, Season 5, Round 9, 3 races to go. Here in the land of the rising sun, we're at Suzuka, Japan, for what will be a memorable race. There's the Drivers' Championship with drop weeks applied. Michael Mittner, 22 points back, but don't count out those other 3 there. Teams Championship, 38 points for LM Rennsport there behind AOR Blue. Hydroforce Racing in third, and team players will have something to say in the words. Jean-Francois Godin, Championship contender, fastest man, only one to break the 157 barrier here today. Michael Mittner and Phil Reed, other rivals there in second and third. So, lights on, engines are revved, and we are off and underway. And, well, it seems that it has been a pretty good start for every driver here at the moment. Looks like there's been no real argy-bargy moment into turn number 1, because Jean-Francois Godin will be unchallenged into the first corner. It seems that everyone's got clean through there, and well, Jean-Francois Godin was the winner last time out. He now finds himself only 46 points back on Phil Reed at the moment, so any points he can gain are vital points, are crucial points in terms of this championship fight, with just 2 races to go after this. So, Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, and of course Watkins Glen, the season finale. We're looking at Lee N. Robinson right now. Into Degner he will come along, and well, he's a driver who has a race win in this series. He won out at Silverstone, edging René Osterkamp after a certain incident happened with Phil Reed getting a disconnection at the end of the day. But things do happen in this series, and things are going to get a little bit feisty as we look now and see that Phil Reed's going to have a little go here. He's going to have a go on Michael Mittner into Spoon. Championship contenders touch! And round they go! The psychology! We talked about it at Phillip Island with Phil Reed. It seems that there has been contact between the two. Oh my goodness gracious me. Everything has just gone on when you least expected it. And well, that's a difficult one to apportion blame to. Mittner and Reed, 2 championship rivals, get a massive bit of contact together down at Spoon. And well, they were going at some rate of knots, and that was a big incident to have. And that could have championship implications on it. So, heading through this final corner right now, these are your standings. Jean-Francois Godin out ahead of Time Cleared right now. Andy Cowie in third. René Osterkamp second, but Hydroforce Cars in fourth. But Gunnar Nienhuis up 5 positions from his starting slot. He's done everything right. So we still look at Lee N. Robinson right now. Seems that Martinson there in a battle with theirs. Whoa, the car going very wide, and that looked like Michael Mittner, if I'm correct. So it is, and there is the graphic now on the bottom of your screen right now, because incident between cars 44 and 87, so that is Phil Reed's AOR Blue car and Michael Mittner's LM Rennsport car. The incident is under investigation right now, and that means that this driver, René Osterkamp, will get a little bit of relief if he manages to hear the news by about end of the race, possibly a bit before that. We will see about this one going on, but he has to be careful, because he might hemorrhage points to Jean-Francois Godin up ahead. Of course, 1 point for pole position. If Jean-Francois Godin can have a clean race, that is another point on the board. And fastest lap, well, that's the 3rd point out of 3 bonuses that you can score around this sort of circuit. We look at Andy Cowie now getting it all horribly shaped and wrong, and round he goes, and how on earth has Gunnar Nienhuis missed it? He's on the racing line, is Andy Cowie. They've done so well to filter around him and make sure nothing's happened, but that opens a little bit of a gap, and you can already see after just 2 laps out of a possible 31 mandatory pit stop just how far Jean-Francois Godin has got away after all the drama, all the melee. Into the triangle chicane they go for the 2nd time then, and well, Hydroforce Racing cars 2 and 3 at the moment, exactly what needs to be done. Ooh, wow, everything going on has gone on, and well, this is going to be one of those races where things happen in the most unexpected of ways. And you have to say that this championship has been known to throw a curveball this season. It's not often we say 6 different winners in 8. It's not often we say 6 different teams in 8. It's not that often we find ourselves with a fight for the championship at the end of the season. Granted, we have one less race this season due to a Christmas break. But we're going to look now at Martin Arnoldus getting in. Oh, round he goes! Contact there with the new driver, Martin Arnoldus. And it looked like one of the other new boys, Lorenda Reich. Another Dutch driver managing to collect contact here as we look to Chris Fowler right now in 6th position. A little bit of breathing room, but he has lost contact with the front 5. And that is the last thing he would want right now. So, let's just take a breather. Let's run you through your top 5 at the moment then. So, it is Jean-Francois Godin out and ahead. 2nd place at the moment goes to Time Cleared. 3rd, René Osterkamp. 4th at the moment is Gunnar Nienhuis. It is Christian Takash in 5th, and this man, Chris Fowler, in 6th. There you can see Martinson running wide of that situation as we look to Evan Imre. There is Phil Reed running along 11th, and oh, Imre's got it all horribly wrong. Can he keep it out of the barrier? No! Oh, what a shame. What a shame for Evan Imre. He's had 3 DNFs in a row, and he was in top 10 at some stage, as we are going to maybe cut over to Time Cleared. Yes, we are. And you can see the gap. It has closed right up here in the battle of the front 4 here. There's Jean-Francois Godin. He is out and away right now. Across the line he goes now to start another lap here of the circuit. He is doing a fantastic job as Time Cleared. He's had a bit of bad fortune. That's why he's so far down in the championship. Of course, he had technical issues putting him out of 3 races before coming back into this season. And just running through these S's right now, maybe there might be some mentality between these 2 drivers trying to protect René Osterkamp for the championship. Of course, as many points as you can get is the most important thing about this series, because the 2 drop weeks seem to play a little bit of havoc on the mind and a little bit of havoc in terms of championship gaps. And I am getting word right now there, and you can see it on the graphic. Number 44, the AOR blue car of Phil Reed, will receive a 20-second time penalty at the end of the race following the incident with Michael Mittner on lap 1. And that shakes everything up right now, because well, Phil Reed is going to have to do everything he possibly can to stick himself there. And there you can see a move going on as we are looking at Christian Takash right now, and Osterkamp is through. Time Cleared will now have to play rear gunner because he is trying to defend against Gunnar Nienhuis and Christian Takash right now. As we look at Chris Fowler, who's made a mistake somewhere in the lap, and he makes another one. Round he goes. Can he keep it out of the barrier? No, he can't. Well, that was a mistake Chris Fowler did not want to make at the end of all of that. He's dropped all the way down the order. So this is now your battle for the podium positions. McLeod, Osterkamp, not in necessarily that order, Nienhuis and Christian Takash. And it looks like Gunnar Nienhuis has got a great run out. And Time McLeod's going to be playing sitting duck here. Moves to the middle of the track, and I don't think he's defended this one quite enough. As we look back at Jonathan Curiacosi there in 16th, getting a little bit twitchy. And oh, there's contact from behind. And it looked like maybe the Menardin there got just behind him and made the contact. What a shame, but it looks like Ty McLeod is holding firm with Gunnar Nienhuis right now. Very difficult to catch your breath in this series. Just so much action going on, and this battle is going to become one of the most important battles we see here on the track. And look, René Osterkamp is starting to pull away, and he has to. He has no other alternative. Ty McLeod will have to try and back Gunnar Nienhuis into Christian Takash right now. It's the only thing he can do. And it looks like he's made a little bit of a mistake there. Run wide through Degner too. And that is as comfortable as you like it. Gunnar Nienhuis will take a easy position up into third there against Ty McLeod's Hydroforce racing car. Christian Takash, formerly the teammate of Red Devolution driver Jamie Fluke, now becomes the prodigal son. And well, he's had a few issues to do with his accelerator and brake pedal over the last few weeks. It seems that he has this sorted out right now. Bit of a twitch there from Gunnar Nienhaus heading through Spoon there. Got to be very careful with that car. He's come up from 10th and he's up to 3rd, so he is your biggest mover and shaker in the grid, up 7 positions right now. And well, everything got topsy-turvy, everything got a little bit difficult. And something to note will be that magic S word of strategy, because everything's going to be all revolving about when these guys come into the pit lane. Of course, I don't have a lap counter to show you at the moment, but when these guys do come into pit lane, they'll be looking to try and fuel up to the maximum to try and sort everything out. As we're looking here at time cleared, the graphic is wrong. He is in 4th position at the moment, heading into turn number 1. He goes right now and he gets a twitch and he loses it. He loses it at turn 1 and he'll be fuming after that one there on lap number 6 as I get unfortunately corrected. What a mistake from time cleared at the start of lap 6. And now the gunner, the rear gunner, has turned into Gunnar Nienhaus for a certain driver known as René Osterkamp, because he has Carbon Racing's Gunnar Nienhaus right behind him. And that's the last thing you could possibly want when you are racing in such a competitive league. So this battle for the podium is really hotting up. We've just lost another contender, so it's now down to a fight of 3. And that will be the last thing that René Osterkamp will want to have, is 2 of the quickest guys in this league standing behind him. This is how it looks at the moment. Godin leads outright at the moment. Osterkamp 2nd, Nienhaus 3rd, Christian Takash of Red Devolution in 4th, and Knut Martinsen of AOR Blue in 5th. We talk a lot about the Drivers' Championship, but something to note is now the Constructors' Championship, because with Andy Cowie back down the field, with Michael Mittner out of this Grand Prix right now, it means that it looks that hardly any points will be scored today from LM Rennsport, and that could have just handed the Constructors' Championship over to the AOR Blue car. So Nienhaus will probably maybe have a look here into the triangle chicane. No, he does not get it sorted there, but if he can get a good run out of the second half, he might have a go on Osterkamp into turn number 1. That's going to be the debate here as we look down this front straightaway. It looks like he's got everything under control at the moment, does Osterkamp, but don't forget Christian Takash in the situation. Everything still to play for. Not close enough this time, Nienhaus, but he will make sure to have another look somewhere. And you can see how much he tries to close up there through the middle of the corner. But a better exit there from Osterkamp and sorts it out as we look at Bruno Dometer here in 12th position. Well, they can see timer cleared up ahead into turn 1 and 2. He comes along. Haven't seen too much of Bruno Dometer so far this season. He's just had a really quiet one, hasn't really attended too many races, doing everything he can. Slovenian, his best finish in this league, 4th place in that car, and it looks like, well, he's trying everything he can to cash back onto the Hydroforce racing car of timer cleared, but that will be a tall order. But mind you, Bruno Dometer was the 2nd fastest man in practice, and you don't just get that from being nothing as he runs wide there at Degner, and he can't get it back, and he puts it in the wall, and that's the last thing that he wants. Has to find that magic reverse gear in order to get himself back out and onto circuit. What a shame for Bruno Dometer. Well, as we look now back at Christian Takash's Red Devolution machine, it seems that Gunnar Nienhaus is closer than he's ever been through Spoon, and he's going to have a run here. Surely he'll have a run through this section of track, trying to get everything sorted. As you can see, he moves to the inside, and looks like if he can get this one done before 130R, then everything is going to be dandy and smelling of roses, and it looks like he might just have it at the moment, and the answer is yes, he does. The 079 car now up into 2nd, and he'll have to try and chase towards the likes of Jean-Francois Godin right about now. Everything on the line here. Nienhaus with nothing to prove but his raw speed. Osterkamp has a championship to try and win. Takash has nothing to prove but raw speed. But something to note is Phil Reedens. I thought I saw him in the background there in around about 8th place at the moment. So he is clawing, scratching and clawing up this field, trying to get everything sorted out. And yet, that is correct. We saw him in 8th position there as we sort of go around. And well, Takash might be the driver who starts piling the pressure onto this young German, trying to test his mettle, trying to test his psychology, whether the young German can keep the car on the island, keep himself in a podium position, which ideally he's going to need, because everything needs to be sorted out points-wise. And, well, with both his drop weeks theoretically used with 2 non-finishes, it seems that René Osterkamp will need to find the magic formula to try and put himself in as good a position as he possibly can. Well, I think we're about a third of the way through the race. Do not quote me on that. So, around about lap 15, we are expecting a few pit stops. We look at Leanne Robinson's AR red car again. He has the likes of Martinson with him. This is the battle for 5th on road right now. And these two boys will know that Phil Reed is right behind them. Here, Leanne Robinson will. And I will doubt there will be too much resistance from these drivers to let the main driver in the team, the championship leader, go flying through. Of course, AOR Red, the sister team to AOR Blue, and they can see a fantastic run through 130R, trying to go to the outside. Doesn't quite work. The door was shut firmly by Martinson, the Norwegian. Of course, the most experienced driver in the league, and got that one A-OK, sorted out nicely. So everything's still to go, and there is Tyler cleared now, finding himself on the back of Patrick Kessler's car there on his debut, and that will be a challenge. That will be a test that won't be wanted there from the newcomer, but this is going to bring in a brand new perspective, because if Ty McClear can find his way through the field, he can disrupt Phil Reed. He can really put the pressure on the AOR Blue driver and make another mistake possibly out of him, and give René Osterkamp another advantage on top of the 20-second time penalty he already has. So, Lee N. Robinson in 6th position at the moment, trying to find a way through Martinson into the Degners. Nothing doing at the moment, just still trying to find a way through. Nothing quite close enough yet. Maybe his setup isn't quite as good as they could see. I believe that is Fowler running wide. Well, I'm not sure who that is. That might be Martin Arnoldus. Possibly, I'm not too sure. But one thing is for certain, Leanne Robinson's getting a lot of track time here as we switch to the other team player's car in the field. That is David Michaud, who got his first race finish, I believe, last time out at Phillip Island, after running up with the likes of Martinson and here behind Phil Reed. He managed to spin the car around, didn't get the finish that he wanted out of it, and well, everything didn't quite go right for the Canadian that race last time out. So he's just ran himself through 130R into the triangle chicane. He will go. Nothing doing for David Michaud, and they can see Ty McLeod's got through on the inside there in the foreground. So McLeod up into the top 10 once again. He'll be looking to fight, looking to close the gap down. He has lost quite a bit of time actually to these guys ahead, and that will be the last thing he wants, to drop out of slipstream range. Woo. So I believe we're on about lap 12 or 13, so pit window will be something to think about right about now. You can see the damage on Phil Reed's number 44 car. The front wing is bent up on that right hand side, so everything on that car is not going to be working perfectly for Phil Reed. It's not ideal to be running with that front wing disability, because you lose the straight line speed and you actually lose a little bit of cornering as well, so he is hemorrhaging more and more time. But this shows the character he has. He dropped down to about 17th and he's up to 7th in the space of about half a race, so that's just showing what he can do. Of course, he is one of only 2 drivers to collect 2 race wins this season, the other driver being Michael Mittner, the car who is out of the race right now, the LM Rennsport 87. But what is having to be said is he did start from the back in one race, and that was Donington Park. As we look at Lee N. Robinson once again filing his way through Spoon, And, well, nothing too dramatic there from the AOR Red driver, but it looks like Phil Reed is closing that gap and will want to try and distance himself from everyone if he can, or even use his teammates as basically like they do in cycling, where one car goes for it, the other car goes for it, the other car goes for it, and, well, run a little train that uses the slipstream to pull them forward. That might be a possibility for these AOR drivers, or they might just ignore any orders, knowing the penalty is there, and go racing. We don't quite know what the mentality is going to be for either of these cars, but it will be one to look out for the rest of this racing. So here's your standings right now. Jean-Francois Godin out in front, Gunnar Nienhaus in second for Carbon Racing, René Osterkamp third for Hydroforce Racing. It is the Red Devolution car, Christian Takash in fourth, and there is the car in fifth that we are looking at just ahead of Liam Robinson in sixth, and that is Knut Martinsen right now. So everything is still up for grabs here in the battle for fifth. 3 AOR blue cars and David Michaud's team players. David Michaud will be wanting to interrupt the battle for his teammate as well. Make sure that Phil Reed gets a really hard time of things. And, well, doesn't look like he can get onto the back right now. That's the problem that he's facing at the moment. Of course, the Star Mazda's not as quick as a Formula 1 car, for example. That's why you see the lap times in the 1:57 category here today. Doesn't seem that they can find anything more on this relatively average track temperature that they've got. As we look at Steve Kager involved in an incident earlier, there is Frederick Johansson and Nigel Spears, I believe, behind him with a Duke car in the background, running himself through this big right-hander, taking flat out, heading towards Spoon once again. It's taken quite a few victims here today, it has. Into the right-hander he goes, and, well, no dramas to report there for Steve Kager, but he might just lose the run there. And isn't it nice to see 3 vaguely yellow cars back to back to back here? And there is the 147 machine in front of Robert Plumley. So these 3 find themselves in a Kinduchi sandwich with Victoria Satamaki behind, and it looks like Nigel Spears is going to go for one. Danny inside into the triangle. Can he make it sorted? Answer to that one? No, not just yet, but that might just give the breathing room there for Steve Kager. Of course, the Canadian driver did lose his teammate at the start of the season, Chris Robinson, after his definite dislike for this new build of the car. Doesn't like the change from season to season. And look at this, Nigel Spears going to have another go into turn number 1, and it looks like they're still going to be side by side behind him. What a shame, with just losing that. Are they still side by side? Well, can't quite tell from this angle, but it looks like Johansson holds on for yet another lap. Wow. Good racing here, even down for these really low minor points right now. The Menarden car has been a bit hit and miss this season. Had a massive hit at, well, ironically a massive hit at Bathurst, I do believe. Of course, when we saw Steve Kager for a number of laps trundling by when the field got whittled down. Unfortunately lost the car with just a few laps to go. That was the last thing he wanted to do, but finds himself now in a really good position. As we look here at Christian Takash, he's found a way through and René Osterkamp, and word is Osterkamp went wide at Spoon, and that's why it happened. So can Osterkamp get back into a position where he's getting past Christian Takash? Well, it will be a difficult one. They're losing Gunnar Nienhaus right now. The last thing they want to do. Will Osterkamp have a look? No. Not into the triangle, but can he get a lovely run out of triangle and onto this front straight? Well, he seems to be close at the moment. He might have a go at Christian Takash. Of course, Takash featured in the 2-year anniversary broadcast by RaceSpot TV. And, well, the other car is out of the race, and that was Michael Mitley, the other one involved from this race today. But holding it into turn 1 and 2 nicely there, Christian Takashi will inherit 3rd position now, and the final podium position has gone away from René Osterkamp. The last thing he could have possibly wanted. Well, everything still to play for then It's not entirely over. It doesn't look like Gunnar Nienhuis has gone away right now. He might be about a second away in terms of gap, but that could so easily be closed around this sort of circuit just with the amount of slipstream areas that you have. There are quite a few overtaking spots, as we've seen, and let's try and keep this as much as you can, Christian Takash. So into this hairpin section you go, slowest part of the circuit. Just neaten out the exit, get the best run that you can out onto Spoon right now, and just make sure that you're going to keep as least amount of cornering as you possibly can. Maximise your main top speed as you head into Spoon, the big left-hander. There, it's a double apex left, which throws you off camber in the second pass of the corner. So many people seem to struggle with that fact alone, and there you can see René Osterkamp getting a good run there as he heads onto the back straight. As we look at David Michaud, and there is a mistake that has just happened because Knut Martinsen has lost his position of 5th place. I can't quite work out whether he's lost 6th as well, so we'll try and get a look at you for that. No, he has not lost 6th. There has the 20 car. Had a little big look there into 130 yards. Couldn't quite get it sorted. It's flat out through that corner. Might have a go into the triangle chicane. Answer to that one, no. Not going for it at the moment. So still looking at this big battle for 5th. Many a car still wanting to be involved, still wanting to find themselves in a situation to be battling for crucial points at the end of the day. They've not made Phil Reed's life easy, and that's allowing David Michaud back into the pack, and that's also allowing, whoa, big mistake though from Leon Robinson. Will drop 1 position, drop 2 positions, will make sure to guard David Michaud behind him, so that has allowed time to clear back in, and that's the last thing they wanted to do. Allow one of your competitors' rivals to come back into the fray. But now Leon Robinson will play a rear gunner right now, as this racing is still fast and furious. There you can see Phil Reed in the middle of the pack, protected in front, protected behind, in 6th position. But because these cars have not got away so far, it looks like still a lot of positions that Phil Reed will be hemorrhaging just on that 20-second time penalty alone. We are on lap 14 of 30 because I cannot judge time at all. It's nice to see the lap counts come up from time to time. We had it all the time, but not for now, but maybe in the future. Still, we find ourselves in a really weird situation now. The pit window is opening up as we speak. Will anybody come in this lap out of these 3 cars? Well, running through 130R, they will come along. 130R, a left-hander surprisingly, but 130R would probably refer to it going the other way around. Is anybody coming into pit road? Answer to that one this time, no. Cowie now having a go at Kessler. Oh, he's lost the back end! Oh, how has he kept that one out of the wall if he has? Risky into 130R he tried, and he couldn't quite get the move sorted. There was a little bit of contact between the two, and that just threw him wide, and that was the last thing he wanted. But now, Takash is still under threat from René Osterkamp. Still, Gunnar Nienhuis unable to break away, but the gap at the front, well, it seems like that is really opening up, and it seems that Jean-Francois Gavin in the lead of this race is uncatchable at this stage in time. Looking now at Nigel Spears having a go at Steve Kagera's car. Oh, they got really close into turn 1, and well, very lucky that there was nothing untoward there. Great fighting between the two. Managed to keep it going, but we're going to look back at Christian Takash now, because this is the battle that we need to look at right now. This is the battle that's going on for the podium positions here. And well, it looks like René Osterkamp doesn't have the straight line set up to quite catch Christian Takash down this front straight, and that will be frustrating the German very much so. There is a back marker ahead of them right now. I'm not quite sure who it is. It looks like a red livery car. I'm not quite sure who it could be. So, Going to pull out the way very comfortably there for them. And through the right left-hander of 130R they go. Will any of these three come in this time by? That is the question that needs to be asked. Will any of them come in here on lap 15? Answer to that one? No, still no one comes in. So fuel saving has been a top priority from these drivers. And they'll be looking to try and pull themselves up the field. Right now it seems that Christoph Leister is out of the race at the moment. And that will be a shame for him right now. So, through turn 2, and this is the S's section, it starts a little bit quick, going about 100 miles an hour into the left, and now the right, and you're just getting slower and slower through the lefts and rights. Just trying to make sure you're setting yourself up big right here. And it wants to spit you out on the exit, but you've got to go as far left as you can to maximise Dunlop curve, of course, the famous curve where Jules Bianchi tragically lost his life in 2014. This year's standings: Godin, Nienhaus, Takash, Osterkamp, and Phil Reed in 5th position on road right now. And if Phil Reed can catch up to these three, that will be the last thing that René Osterkamp wants, because that 20-second penalty we have stated so much, because there are so many implications about it here on lap 16 of 30. That could be the difference between fighting and letting him go through. Still quite a bit to play for at the moment. Takash running himself through Spoon right now, the big double left-hander, and he'll head onto this back straight past the alternative pit lane soon. Everything's still going hunky-dory at the moment for him, and well, this has been a real change of fortune in his season. He's had a couple of really poor results, as we look at Leanne Robinson here, starting to lose contact just a little bit here from the two AOR Blue drivers, and that's the last thing he'll be wanting to do, fall into the clutches of Ty McLeod, if I'm correct, and I am. So McLeod's found a way past Michaud, and that'll be the last thing Leanne Robinson wants. And oh, Martinson trying to go back on his teammate. That's a bold one. That's a really bold one. Will any of these boys come in this lap? Answer to that one, well, 1 and 2, and McLeod in as well. So all these boys are in on pit road as we currently speak, and that looks like the leader is in. Jean-Francois Godin on pit road. So is Gunnar Nienhaus. So is René Osterkamp. Expect Jean-Francois Godin to find a way to fly through pits right now. We're looking at these boys very intensely. And, well, Godin is out and away. And so is Gunnar Nienhaus. And he's left René Osterkamp in the dust. What a pit stop for Gunnar Nienhaus. He has found a stormer. And I am getting told that he is taking on 2 litres less fuel in his car compared to René Osterkamp. So that could be the difference between winning the race, coming second comfortably, or possibly even running out of fuel around this circuit. That might be the big benefactor. You don't pull that sort of gap normally just fueling up. You must have a fantastic strategy in order to make that one work. So very uneventful so far for Jean-Francois Godin, controlling the race only how the French-Canadian would want to. Having a boring race, well, boring for us cameras, well, not for him. This would be the ideal race he wants. So we look at Evan Imre, still circulating the track here, heading towards Degner right now. Into the left-hander he goes, and going through this second, well, right-hander even, I am corrected. So, trying to chase down that Kinduchi Racing car behind. Still everything to play for these lower points. He's not out of it just yet, but he'll want to get better than this on this race. You can see the damage there on his front left on the wing. There, you can see it bent down. That's going to affect his cornering just a little bit. And that's the last thing that the Team Tortoise car will be wanting to deal with there. The number 887 machine. Well, if you are just joining this broadcast, it has been eventful from the word go. We saw everything in lap 1. We saw the 2 championship leaders, not Tyler McLeod, of course, Michael Mittner and Phil Reed, get themselves into a bit of a tangle, which resulted in Phil Reed getting a 20-second time penalty at the end of this race. And if everything's gone right for him right now, it will mean that he will not be in too much trouble when it comes to positions. If he has to, he can use a drop week if he must. So, still a lot to play for, as I believe that was Lorenzo Reich coming out of pit lane. If I may be mistaken, the answer is yes, that was Lorenzo Reich. Just a bit of an update for you then on your newcomers to the league. Lorenzo Reich, you can see in 18th here on lap 19 of 30. As we look at, I believe that is the number 44 car of Phil Reed, alongside with Lee N. Robinson. So what has happened to Knut Martinsson in all of this? It seems that he has dropped significantly off this group, and there you can see he's behind Ty McLeod right there. So Ty McLeod sliding his way back through the field, trying to get onto the back of these two, and he'll want to try and cause some trouble, but at the moment it's not quite happening the way he would want it to happen. And everything that could go wrong for Ty McLeod, making that one mistake, has gone wrong, and he will want to rectify that as soon as he possibly can. Lee N. Robinson then must be one of your biggest movers and shakers inside the top 10. Had a generally okay qualifying. I wouldn't say it was brilliant, as we look at Neil Lukins right now, who is not in 6th position because he's going to run wide up and over at Degner, and he's done very well to slow that car down and keep it out of the barrier. Great car control from the Bristolian. He's done everything he needs to do. Back onto Lee N. Robinson right now, who is trying to keep on the back of Phil Reed at the moment. Everything still to go, everything still to play for. And well, what does have to be said around here is that everything is just calming down again. No real overtakes happening on circuit, no real battles to be reporting to you guys right now. So they head under that Dunlop bridge and towards 130R once again here on lap number 20, if I am correct. We look now at Rene Osterkamp, who has fallen behind a certain Mr. Christian Takash. The graphic is incorrect. He is in P number 4 at the moment, trying to find a way past this car of Christian Takash, Red Devolution driver. Seems that even our graphics man has seemed to have forgotten John Francois-Godin out in front. He is so far clear. Gap at the front about 8 seconds, and that is substantial. So this fight is not over and done with. Something to note, Rene Osterkamp's setup not as good as we have stated before. So down these straights, he is not perfect, but he's going to try and claw it back in the corners. Not ideal, but the 29 car will be trying everything he can to put himself in a position where he can chase down the Red Devolution driver, hound him into a mistake, as he did with Phil Reed at the Nordschleife, as he did with Phil Reed at Phillip Island, as he's trying to do once again, to try and hound his driver ahead of him into a memorable mistake. The thing about Rene Osterkamp is he's a very consistent driver, can run lap after lap after lap at the same speed, and very much not really too much going on with him that is wrong. You can see him running up behind Christian Takash right now up this hill, which is a lot steeper than it looks on these cameras that we have. It is really quite steep if you go and visit. So 130R is next, and he might just have a little bit of a look possibly. I think he's too far back this time by. So into the right hand then, he is right underneath that gearbox, and if he can stay there, he might have an opportunity to get through. Osterkamp is a little bit far back as we switch to Sal Talamakia, who has Lionel Alberto's car ahead of him. And well, that Team R car I believe might stand for a rep, so I'm probably wrong. But Lionel Alberto trying to hold his own here in the lower half, top 20 even. The battle is hot and is trying to get a little bit close here through Spoon. You can see the damage there on Sal Talamakia's 27 car. It's huge on that left side pod. And whoa! Looks like Lionel Alberto's team marker has gone for a little bit of rallycross in the gravel of Spoon. And well, we said that corner's off camber and likes to chuck people out. It took Imre as a victim and Alberto almost followed. So this is Patrick Kessler in 11th. And what a lonely race he's running right now. The privateer for Diach right now. Well, he's doing pretty well for himself on his debut. Running that lovely orange and, well, 2 shades of orange livery. As we look at Lee N. Robinson, and something's happened with Phil Reed, has it possibly? No, it hasn't. So, standings as they were, Godin out ahead, Nienhouse second, Takash third, René Osterkamp in fourth, and Phil Reed round out the top 5 at the moment, but that is with penalties to be applied. So, looks like Lee N. Robinson has lost the back of Phil Reed right now. That won't be what he wanted here. Still lap 21 out of a possible 30 according to our graphic. So, still a lot to play for. Still about 9-10 laps still of pure driving to go for these guys into 130R. They come along once again. And what a beautiful 130R is. It used to be such a formidable corner, and now it's taken flat out at around 150 miles an hour. No real arguments into that corner that we've seen today, maybe apart from Andy Cowie trying to make a little bit of a move. But Leon Robinson is still looking to try and close in the gap on Phil Reed right now, and it looks like he's not quite there. Doesn't quite have the pace to match the fastest driver in the league on points, as it would say. Now, I don't quite know about the mathematics of this, but from my calculations, Phil Reed could drop down as far as 10th position right now if he finishes where he does and the race was stopped now. So, still has to push, and it's a different mentality when you know you've got a penalty. You have to push for everything, and whoa, big slide from Leon Robinson. A great hold from him as we look back to see Neil Lukins, the other AOR Red driver, almost follow him in same suit, but does not get the slide the same into the hairpin. He will come along, and well, he's been a very comfortable driver this season as Neil Lukins. The only problem he's had is he's hardly turned up to any races, which is a real shame because he is one of the main pull drivers that you see. And when you see Neil Lukins in the list, you think, well, I know I'm guaranteed that I'll be in for a race somewhere along this this championship ride. So that looks like Ty McLeod out ahead though. Ty McLeod's made another mistake somewhere, and he has dropped all that time that he wanted to keep has just evaporated away, and another big mistake for the Flying Scotsman. What a shame for the Hydroforce Racing driver. Still got quite a few laps to go then. Still got a couple of battles that we need to sort out down this field. So maybe Ty McLeod can hold on into turn number 1, and if he can, he's okay. We're going to look now at Lionel Alberto here as he heads through Spoon, and well, he's got that one sorted quite nicely, and we don't really talk about this Frenchman too often. He's normally languishing around the back of the field, and he finds himself up in 15th position right now, and if he can score some vital points, he'll be very happy with that. There is Lorenda Reich behind him, so still not out of the realms of a possibility here to pick up a couple more points here for Lionel Alberto, running through this right-hander right now. But something to note, will Gunnar Nienhuis run out of fuel by the end of the race? That is the big question, the big talking point of this second half of this race. He'll be trying to find everything that he possibly can to sort this one out, to try and fuel save the best that he can. And well, looking at Lionel Alberto right now, it seems that he is just taking things a little bit steady right now, not too focused on Vittorio Sottalamacchia up ahead, just focused on finishing the race at the moment. Well, we don't have too long left in this race. By my calculations, we may just have about 5 laps left to go. I'm not quite too sure at the moment on the graphic or where any car is definitively. Of course, we are running a brand new graphic setup here on LM Rennsport right now, and well, I have to say it's been clearer, it's been concise, but a couple of issues we still need to iron out between us here down at LM Rennsport, and everything still up for grabs then in terms of lead. We're going to look at Loren de Rijk now here heading through the left-hander, and he's gone and made a big spin. 180 degrees goes the rookie, the newcomer, as we look at Tyler Clear now heading himself through the S's section right now. Number 13 car trying to sort everything out right now. So Ty McLeod is in 9th position. Of course, he was up in 2nd at one point, and he'll probably be fuming at himself for that, but he might just be catching cars ahead of him. I saw a little flash of a car, maybe that is David Michaud or Knut Martinsen, I'm not quite too sure there, and it doesn't look like our cameras are going to pick it up. So look at the gap though, he's managed to pull on Neil Lukins, and that's just from consistent driving alone. Ty McLeod is trying to cement himself as one of the faster guys in this league, but if he can cut out these silly mistakes that he keeps seeming to make, he might just find himself with his first ever podium and possibly his first ever win, you never know. His best result, 4th place, which was down at a certain track known as Silverstone. Here we're looking at Jonathan Kuriakosi in 16th, running a little bit wide through Dunlop, but he managed to hold the car there nicely. So look back on Ty McLeod here, trying to just close onto the back here of this car through this chicane section, and we're right, it is David Michaud who he's trying to catch now. And you know, if he can do it, he will be in a situation where everything will be up for grabs, and I want to say I'm correct, but I can't be too certain there on the car ahead of him. I'll assume it's David Michaud until proved wrong. So there is Lee N. Robinson, and he has got back onto Phil Reed. Phil Reed can't seem to get onto the back of Osterkamp and Christian Takash. They are a mile down the road, but someone a further mile away from them is the race leader Jean-Francois Godin, who has done a fantastic job of almost flag to flag leading. Christian Takash did take a 1 lap lead of the race somewhere along the road. So will Leanne Robinson try and prove it to his bigger team man, Phil Reed? Very difficult to try and get the right analogy for that, but there is no obligation from AOR Red to comply to an AOR Blue team order, if that is something that you need to know. Imagine it like Toro Rosso trying to accept a team order from Red Bull. They don't have to comply, they're two different teams. So racing is allowed between them, but I'm not sure how much they will battle per se. So this is what's going on right now in the battle for 5th position on track. Jean-Francois Godin still out ahead. Gunnar Nienhuis. It is very debatable whether Nienhuis will finish the race with any fuel left in his tank, or if he'll actually finish at all, to be perfectly honest. It's been such a difficult race. And there you can see Phil Reed running wide. And oh, they got really close. And this is the battle we were wanting to see. Leanne Robinson now will tuck in under the slipstream, try and make sure he gets around Phil Reed. Phil Reed won't want to make any more contact with any more cars, risk another steward's investigation. Down the inside, tries to go Leanne Robinson, but holding it round the outside very beautifully, I have to say, is Phil round the outside Reed. By my reckoning, we have just a couple of laps left as we look at time cleared Hydrocross racing car once again. Heading through the assessing section, turn number 3 and then turn number 4, the series left and right. So this is how the field looks now. Godin, Nienhouse, Osterkamp through off camera into 3rd. That's what he wanted. Takash in 4th and Phil Reed there in 5th position. So, doesn't look like there has been any form of problem for Jean-Francois Godin right now. We're on lap 26 out of 30, running a little bit wide there was time cleared. And oh, gets a big slide into Degner too, and there was the consequence of trying to chase down David Michaud. Not quite getting that one the way he would have desired. Still a lot of racing to go, 4 laps. We've just seen how he's been closing on David Michaud. If he can get onto the back of him, then maybe, just maybe, he could salvage 8th position overall into the left-hander of Spoon. And oh, getting a bit wide there he goes. And oh, big slide again. He's got to calm down as time are cleared, because now the tyres are hot. Now the tyres are starting to have less and less grip. The more mistakes you make, and that just makes your life harder and harder when you're driving this sort of Star Mazda car. Something to note though is there is a possibility that the AOR Pro Mazda Championship season for season 6 may not occur. The word is on the street that these guys will be transferring over to the new Formula Renault 2.0. So the Formula Renault 2.0 Championship might just be the championship which everyone will be looking forward to next season. Well, we are on lap number 27 out of 30. There are just 4 laps left in this race, and all the battling at the front has seemingly gone. We're looking at Martin Arnoldus on his debut here, heading through 130R right now, and heading towards this triangle. Can he close up on Steve Kagerer? Answer at the moment is no, not quite yet, but there's still battling going on for these lower positions, and that's what's making all this racing so exciting here. Arnoldus on his debut will be trying to go through. This is Evan Imre back in 21st position and out of the points right now. And oh, that's a big spin into the hairpin. That's a really odd one. And there you can see Osterkamp and Takash coming through. And that could have ended a little bit differently. And that was not the way that wanted to happen. There you can see just how far back time cleared is. He's just running through Degner right now. This is not going to become the Hydroforce Racing show, hopefully not. So, running himself through now the hairpin where Evan Imre just lost the back end. And well, you have to say it has been a disappointing race for time cleared. He'd feel that he could get a little bit more out of this one, seeing how well he did in the first lap, seeing the little bit of luck he got. But he did make that one mistake to pull him back through the field, and he's kept making minor ones and minor ones. And well, the Scotsman must be fuming in his seat after the mistakes he's made today. Still, it is Jean-Francois Godin as in front. There's David Michaud, Jean-Francois Godin's teammate there in the number 6 car. Everything to go and play for right now, and that does include this battle for 3rd here as we skip on a little bit. It is Osterkamp Takash here, down into the triangle. If Takash gets, whoa, a bit of a slide there in from Rene Osterkamp. And well, that might just hamper him here as they go on to start their 29th lap out of 32 to go. And to the outside goes Christian Takash, and look at the overspeed he has. This is the battle for the final podium position, and it looks like he's got him, has he, into turn number 1. He does. Beautiful move there from the Norwegian, and Rene Osterkamp will be wanting to hold on to the back of Christian Takash as much as he possibly can here. So still a lot of racing to be had here, running through this SS section. Osterkamp still trying to claw onto the back of Christian Takash right now, through the left of Dunlop curb, the final corner that Jules Bianchi famously took, into the right-hander then of Degner 1, and now Degner 2. Can there be any closing up for Osterkamp on Takash, or can Takash start to pull away from the German René Osterkamp? And at the moment it seems that he is just clawing a little bit of a gap, running a bit deep there was René Osterkamp, and that will hamper his exit speed heading towards Spoon. That's not what he wanted at all. Very clever driving there from Christian Takash, slowing it down maybe even a little bit more going into that corner. So into Spoon they'll come along now for the penultimate time, just trying to get things sorted along, and oh my word, bit of a twitch there from Osterkamp, bit of another twitch, and well, he's just probably fallen out of slipstream range there to catch Christian Takash there, and that's probably decided the order, and that is a shame the way it's been decided like that by a mistake. But do not take any credit away from René Osterkamp in his drive today. Do not take any credit away from Christian Takash in his drive today. There could still be a podium with Gunn and Ianhouse possibly running out of fuel. That could be a talking point to go along. At least it's downhill to the finish. That could be one advantage if you're running out of fuel. Looking now at the 9th place timer cleared, who will be frustrated at everything today, as we have previously mentioned. Just cutting from Hydroforce Racing Car to Hydroforce Racing Car, it seems, today. Well, we are on the final lap, if I am correct. Still not really much to be decided at the end of things. There has been one driver who has completely dominated proceedings, and it just seems like that driver is Jean-Francois Godin. He has been dominant today, and there's been no doubt about it. There is the timer cleared, they're going through, and Osterkamp will still be trying to get onto the back of Christian Takash right now. I think the graphic was a little bit incorrect. Maybe it was lap 28. He's still in it, and this is a replay of what happened here with René Osterkamp. Bit of a twitch moment, and that's what pulled him out of the way, out of slipstream range. There, just getting a little bit of rerun there, which is a little bit untoward, not quite specified there, which is a little bit disappointing. But this is now the final lap. This is Jean-Francois Godin. This is the driver who has been completely and utterly dominant today. They can see Nienhaus, just a black speck in the background for Carbon Racing. Jean-Francois Godin was the fastest in practice, the fastest in qualifying. He has fastest lap, and I'm sure he's had a clean race as well. He has been utterly dominant right now as he heads through these SS section. Dunlop curve now, the big left at turn number 7, I believe it is. I'm not quite too sure. The two Degners now will be coming along for the Canadian man, the French-speaking Canadian in the 99 car. Very similar to those following MotoGP of Jorge Lorenzo. So maybe some winning heritage to do with number. Into this small hairpin then. Not really too much of a challenge for him. Just running now. He's just got to keep it cool, keep it calm. There is a bonus point on offer. And of course Phil Reed will drop down the standings depending on his penalty. And from what I can tell, he might finish down in 11th position, but we need to focus on this man. That is Jean-Francois Godin, who is coming out of Spoon now and will hit the back straight. He just has 4 more corners to go before he can call himself the first back-to-back winner of Season 5 right now. So, he's behind Jonathan Curiacosi, if I am correct, running through 130R, just 3 more corners left to go here on this Suzuka circuit. Into the triangle chicane he goes. Jean-Francois Godin of Team Players, the Canadian becomes the first back-to-back winner and cements himself as the biggest rival to Phil Reed's crown. There is Gunnar and Ian House coming home in second. He does have enough fuel to cross the line, but in the battle for third, Christian Takash will hold off René Osterkamp in the end for fourth position. Well, for third position there, Osterkamp in fourth. There is Evan Imre. He has had a torrid time of it today. He'll come across the line in 23rd. There you can see Phil Reed across the line in fifth position overall. Martinson across in seventh. But we need to look at the stopwatch now, because this is all about what happens there. Good effort from Christian Takash, and this is the battle for 10th and 11th here. What a job Andy Cowie's done and chasing him down. Can he get it sorted? The answer to that, no. So, John Volkswagen Dean wins by 8.4 seconds there. Phil Reed provisionally 28 seconds back. Answer is, well, he'll finish at least 10th with Neil Lukin's 10th. Disappointment for time cleared, as we've said on many an occasion. But will he finish any lower than 10th? Answer, yes. He will finish 11th place overall then with the penalty applied. Andy Cowie there finishing. Rob Plumley, Nigel Spears, Frederick Johansson there on the lead lap. Martin Arnaldos finishes his first race. DK there, Victoria Salamanca, Better, and Jonathan Courier-Cosi all coming across the line to wrap up the points. Next time out, Spa-Francorchamps, 2 races to go. I've been Jake Sperry. We'll see you then.